From the 15th to the 19th century, at least 12.5 million Africans were kidnapped, forcibly transported by mostly European merchants, and sold into slavery. Then came the scramble and partition of Africa by European imperial powers in the late 19th and early 20th century. In the following decades, these significant eras would have repercussions that are still being felt today. In Kenya, Mijikenda community elder David Garera blames the loss of sacred spaces and erosion of Mijikenda traditions on historic colonial-era land dispossessions.
The culture is complete, but what has been affected is our traditions. Our traditions and customs have been affected in a very big way, because even as you saw up there in the forest, there are important places that were our places of prayer, but the trees that we used to pray under have been cut down.
The plight of the Mijikenda community is just one example of broader political conversations taking place in the region. To address the legacy of slavery and colonialism, the African Union's Economic, Social, and Cultural Council believes reparation must be discussed. Leaders plan to outline a unified vision for reparations that may include financial compensation, formal acknowledgement, and policy reform. The issue has, however, drawn the ire of US President Donald Trump, and some European leaders have refused to even discuss it.
It's not something that you simply talk about it and the following day somebody's writing a check. Because we are dealing with different, the generations are not the same. Those who committed the crime already passed on. It's their great-grandchildren who are in power probably. For Africa, those who felt the pain, of course, passed on. But there's always what you call trauma. Even though it happened centuries ago, you can notice that the trauma still impacts Africa to date.
The Mijikenda community faces an uphill task to prove its claims, especially when most of its knowledge keepers are aging while many have died without ever getting justice. In spite of this, analysts like Shikwati consider the African Union Summit's call a positive step, as the records will allow future generations to continue the fight for reparations. Muturi Kaibere, CGTN.